Welcome to Fight City NYC. Check us out on the web at www.fightcitynyc.com. My name is Ben Chan and I'm your host. And to my left, I've got the Astoria assassin, Aris Pina from Gotham Boxing and also from CompuBox. And to my right, I've got the Bronx Bomber, Francisco Guzman from BoxeoMundial.com. Today, we're going to recap what's been happening so far in 2010 in the worlds of boxing and MMA. We're going to start with MMA. Francisco, what have been the biggest events so far this year?
The biggest event, I would say, was Mauricio Shogun Rua versus Lyoto Machida. That was a big one.
That was a rematch.
Well, that was a rematch, of course, because it was a controversial loss. The one before, I actually have it wrong. GSP versus Dan Hardy was also a big
George
one.
St. Pierre.
UFC 111. It was interesting to see how GSP would fight against a guy like Dan Hardy who can crack, and he showed that you're not going to beat GSP. GSP is just too strong, too quick, too versatile, and showed his dominance in the welterweight division. The Shogun Rua fight, of course, was a rematch, and it was interesting to see how Ruiz would come back from a controversial loss, and he threw a caution to the wind and went out there and knocked out Ruiz.
Yeah, he knocked him into 2011, I think. So I mean, certainly those were the biggest events. Now, if you had to pick an MMA fight of the year at this point of the at June, who would it be for you?
I think Shogun. Shogun actually was a guy who was trying to redeem himself from that rematch, from that loss last year, and he also was trying to redeem himself, period, to make himself a key player. And now he's the man to beat. I mean, you got one guy right now who's also trying to redeem himself, which is Rashad Evans, calling him out. And also, maybe Rashad could get a rematch against Lyoto now that Lyoto's got a loss himself. And a knockout loss.
The Shogun,
like he did.
The Shogun have an opponent for, or when are we going to be able to see him next?
Who, Shogun?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen what's up on the horizon for him, but it's sky's the limit. He, like I said, he could fight against Rashad Evans. I mean, that would be a good fight for Rashad, also, who's trying to redeem himself. Rashad recently got a win, so it would be a good fight for him.
Certainly. And we also have an upcoming fight on July 3rd on the UFC card.
Yeah, this is an anticipating fight. This is a fight that was supposed to happen last year. Brock Lesnar had to pull out against his fight against Carwin, I think twice, because of an illness. It's a very interesting fight because Shane Carwin has not gotten out of the first round. He's like the Mike Tyson of MMA. I mean, he's been knocking out everybody in the first round. Frank Mir was expected to take him out of that, and got caught with a punch and was flattened by Carwin.
Is Carwin a legit guy in your opinion?
He has to be. I mean, this is a guy who has a wrestling background. Brock, they do know each other. You know, Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar do know each other from wrestling days. So it makes it very interesting because we would like to see if Brock could take a punch from Carwin, and we would also like to see if Carwin can defend against Brock's takedowns. So it's a very interesting fight.
Does Brock take Carwin past the first round?
He could. He just can't be too cocky in there and not, throw a caution to the wind and let Carwin hit him with one of those big punches. That's one thing that Carwin has. Carwin has not has not used his wrestling skills, and he doesn't have to. I mean, he just got to go in there and pop goes the weasel, just put you right out. So he really doesn't need to use his wrestling skills. I mean, why wrestle a guy and waste your energy when you could just put him right to sleep and go home?
So make a pick. Who wins this fight?
Ooh, I like Brock. I seen Carwin. Carwin to me wasn't the favorite when he fought Mir, because Mir had a grappling experience, but seem to forget Mir was destroyed by Brock in their last fight. He had won the first one because Brock really didn't have any experience, and he caught him with a I think it was an ankle lock. He kind of caught him with the ankle and caught him to submit. It's a hard fight for me to pick. I'm slightly favoring Lesnar because I like him, but I wouldn't sleep on Carwin. If Brock can take him past the first round, which Carwin hasn't seen, if he can just do what GSP does, is wrestle a guy down and take his energy out, he can probably win this fight.
Yeah, sounds like this is going to be a fun fight. July 3rd, guys. That's when they're going to tangle. Now we're going to move on to boxing. Aris, you and me have done a lot of the fights on HBO for CompuBox. There's certainly also been a lot of good fights on ESPN and also Showtime. What have been so far the events of the year in 2010?
So far for 2010, it's been a good year for boxing. We've had a bunch of fights come off that we were hoping to come off. There's going to be plenty more to come for the rest of the year. Obviously, the biggest event right now was definitely the Shane Mosley, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather fight. Floyd Mayweather fight that took place back in March.
Right.
Yeah. And May.
Yeah. Who are you picking?
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you picking to fight? That's right. And May. And that was the biggest event of the year. That was Floyd going against his biggest test in years, possibly his biggest test of his career. Shane Mosley coming after that spectacular knockout of Antonio Margarito. And it was just a fight everyone was really anticipating. Everyone thought that Shane was going to give a great fight, and give Floyd his toughest challenge. Actually didn't happen. Floyd proved masterful, and the rest is history.
Absolutely.
Shane gave a great second round. That's what he did.
He did.
That was about it.
Okay. Yeah. Which brings me to the question then. Did that fight live up to the hype? Did it live up to your expectations?
No, not whatever. What it was is that a lot of people, it depended what your expectations for the fight were. A lot of people thought that Shane was going to get him, and give it a great fight. Or a lot of people also thought, I don't want to say the majority, but a lot of people also thought that Floyd was going to school him. So for the people that thought Floyd was going to school him, the fight lived up to their expectations. But for people like me who I thought it was going to be a very competitive fight, Shane was looking good for those 2 rounds. 1.5 rounds, he looked great. And I think his worst mistake was when he hurt Floyd, because when he hurt Floyd, he threw caution and went and tried going for that home run punch, and it completely messed up his game plan. And then the fight, it didn't live up to the expectations for me, but for other people, I'm sure it did.
What about you, Francisco?
Yeah, well, Floyd is good at selling fights. He's good at stirring controversy, talking dirt on 24/7. So yeah, people brought into this fight because they want to either see Floyd lose or see how he does against a guy like Shane Mosley, who was supposed to be that guy that was going to give him his roughest time. We haven't seen Floyd in a tough fight since Castillo, and that's what we were expecting. We were expecting to see a tough fight, but it definitely didn't live up to the hype. One thing I have to say about that fight was that Shane Mosley looked the worst in his career. I mean, this guy was just finished beating a guy who was a monster. Yeah, we talked about the plaster of Paris and
you're talking about Antonio Margarito.
Antonio Margarito, Margarito had the plaster of Paris or whatever happened, that whole controversy. But that guy had a chin. I mean, Cotto hit him in the chin. A lot of guys hit him in the chin and couldn't put him out, and Shane Mosley did. So Shane Mosley was coming in as the monster to beat against Floyd. People knew that Floyd had the skills. Definitely had better skills than Shane Mosley right now, but it was supposed to be definitely a closer fight than this was. This was not even close.